we're in a transition right now to where TV is no longer a box that sits in your living room. And this is a very expensive program that we're about to put on the air.
Yeah.
How nerve-wracking is that in the current climate that you'll be able to find an audience in a dwindling pool?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's. I guess the good news is that it is the delivery. It's TV as a box is becoming this. It's whatever system that will bring a show to you, from phone to iPad to whatever. And so it feels like you don't have to worry as much about, here's your time slot, here's your network, and you got to build an audience that way. It's much more chaotic, but in the same way, like filmmakers now can go make a film, put it on the web, and have worldwide distribution instantly like that. When we were coming up, we were like, wow, to have that kind of benefit of technology, but at the same time anyone can do it now, so you still have to have a good story to cut through and try to, in the same way the guys found a way to create these best-selling books out of a very crowded field they found a way into telling a sci-fi story that we fell in love with instantly. Obviously a lot of other people have, so we're just going to go with it's scary to compete out there in general, especially with the and largely due to audiences and Comic-Con and like the quality level is because of places like this, like the demand for great storytelling, which is so awesome, especially in TV. But it didn't just happen. It happened because people said take a chance, and then they rewarded people taking chances, and then studios were like, oh, and then so why we love these audiences and why we're so proud to be here is that this is where it kind of came from. The bar was set in places like this for all this to happen. So, it's a little terrifying to be out there in the wilds competing, but we're just going to, we have a lot of faith in our story and why it's different from everything we've seen, and why we wanted to do it in the first place was because it was a story we had always wanted to tell and hadn't seen and had always been looking to see. So we're like, that's the stuff you work on, the stuff that you want to see yourself. So, and I think we're just gonna tell the best possible story we can, and then the fans decide whether they like you or not. And I think I used to freak out about that stuff, and you're like, it's not up to you. So just have fun doing it, and you don't get to decide that. So just put your best story forward and let the people either love you or say, it's all right.
I think some of it, like going back to starting from something that was already in existence in the book. It's kind of like with The Walking Dead. Walking Dead has a comic book, but there's elements in the TV show that on its own.
Yep.
So do you feel that freedom in this? Something like such a big project like that. Totally
Yeah. We had the authors very involved because we loved them, not because they insisted, not because we felt daunted by them, or they were really respectful of like, oh, it's a different medium. But we found that we really clicked with them. They wrote scripts with us. They were in our writer's room. They have been producers on it. It's been a love fest with them because we just all love the same kind of story we're telling. So when we invent new stuff to make the show work that's not in the books, or we move a character from one book to another, we're really faithful to the books, but we've taken some things that make sense for a show that wouldn't in the books, and we just argue it out. If we have a good idea, we want to invent something that's not there, we just throw it out on the table, talk it out, and if it's good, it stays, and if it's not, and we're allowed to question their books. They're allowed to defend anything that we're messing with that they think, and we'll just see who has the better idea, and that's what goes in the story. So it hasn't been like tension, the way it could be, because first of all, their books are great, so they don't need to be broken too much, but there's opportunities that I think they didn't have time for in the pacing of the first book. For example, they were in this freight train two-point of view thing, and we're like, well, what if we add a third point of view? What if we add some characters that don't exist to illuminate this or this or this? And we just talk it out, and we work it out, and if it's good, the guys will say, yeah, that's pretty cool, we should have wrote that, and they have respect for what we do and vice versa. So it's been a really easy process to mess with their canon a little bit, and not feel like we can't. So it's been, I think that, tension is no good for a show, especially like the people who created the source material and people who are messing with that source material. That could be a tense relationship, and it's not in this. We've really found mutual respect, because we all get what they were writing in those books, and we've always wanted to tell that story on screen. So it's been an amazing synergy with the novelists, and I know that people will often say, "Whoa, what are you doing? You're having the novelists in your writer's room? Beware!" I mean, but we knew we hung out with them so much before we started this, and we just knew this is going to work. So it did. I mean, at least so far. We'll all go out after each other's throats in the second, our second season, when all those simmering animosities will come bursting out. But no, it's been mutual respect, and we challenge their books, and they challenge our assumptions that we know what we're talking about, and we just go back and forth and try to tell the best story. That's it.
Getting back to the subject of technology, we hear that the effects are going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Show, what technologies did you use to bring it all together? Practical, CGI, etc.
Yeah, we did. I'd say mostly CGI, but some practical, and just really whatever the the affordable. It's not. I think the CGI has essentially created effects that you can't even imagine having created with a miniature or in any other way. Just the camera movements and what you're seeing and the level of detail. And some of them we're just seeing like a week ago. Finished ones that were just constantly coming off the line. Your jaw hits the floor. You're like, oh my God, like what is possible now? So we used whatever we could. We want it to be as cinematic as possible. We want to always, if we can't afford something to tell, if you don't want to get yourself in a place where you have to show something that's half-hearted because you really couldn't afford. So we're trying to write to things that are really doable on a TV pace, and not end up making a sequence that could have been good if we had a lot more money. Just know how to pick and choose where to put your resources, and because we do want the the effects when we use them to be mind blowing, but sparely used so it doesn't become it's a real it's a very much a character based show, and we want every effect and every pop of that to blow your mind, because we're not doing it all the time, like trying to win you over with eye candy all the time. It's impossible to do on the feature level because of the money and the time, but when we show you something, we want it to be awesome, but ultimately it's a show about people, and we try to have that nice balance between spectacle and intimacy, really, which is, I think, so great about the books as well. They're very intimate, and then it's about the whole universe and the fate of everything, and there's so massive, grand themes, but then really it's about a handful of screw-ups just trying to get through life, like the rest of us. They're just normal people trying to deal with and sci-fi and space and all that. It's just a backdrop for their lives, as opposed to, this is science fiction, we have to start there and then try to tell some stories. It's very much the other way around. They had mentioned this, if this is a space opera, they said we care more about the opera part of that, and I thought that was a nice way of telling us what their philosophy of the books were, and I think that's very much the show we wanted to tell, was what are people like in this time in history, and with this level of technology. Mankind has not really conquered the stars yet, but we're getting out there. We're getting our, we're pushing out and seeing what the limits are. But we're still people, and we brought all our, bullshit with us and our hatreds, and we still have to sort all that out. Just because we've conquered more real estate doesn't mean we've learned anything about ourselves. So I think that's really what the books do really well, and we're trying to stick to that. So.
Thanks, guys. You just give away.
Oh, sorry, guys.